Have there been moments for each of you when you've thought, this isn't going to work?
Not for me.
But I can remember a time when, not in our youth work, but in our family whānau development work, where one of my social work staff did an assessment which its underlying summary was obviously not what Donna wanted to hear. And I can remember her saying to me, I paid for this and you haven't delivered me the right the right bottom line.
What are you thinking?
Well, at least you could say it.
I could say it, and we had a robust discussion, and I would have quit back, but that's what you like about us, Donna, that we have independent thought. But it acted as a critical moment in the building of our relationship, because it meant that, in fact, robust conversations triumphed over me being subservient to the person paying the invoices or paying the bills. But
But are you saying But are you saying then, so that we capture something here, that your practice is actually parallel to what you're enabling the young people to do in terms of when things get tough, being transparent about that, and being I thought your point earlier from both of you about saying you have to go back, you have to re-engage, we don't have to do it alone, but we'll help you with that. So is it important that practitioners have to model that?
I truly believe that we need to be present, and at this level, in order for the relationship and the work to continue to be done well, and delivered to the young people. So we trust, challenge, push back, achieve, celebrate together, and that's what our teams should be doing together too, and that's what the young people see. So there's no difference. There's absolutely no way that I would even consider that we can do it better, or that we are right because we've got this piece of legislation and therefore it will be done this way. Really, it doesn't cross anyone's mind around that, because we have different reasons for being from organisational perspectives, but not at the same time. It's kind of like we have a common vision, and I know Bruce's team can pick up and fill the gaps that my team can't, because they're doing other things from another perspective, to other young people, children.
I think one point I'd make would be I've always trusted that the overall heart of Child, Youth and Family and of Donna has been for the best intentions, best purposes for each young person. And that, yes, like any relationship, there's been difficult moments, but we would try and walk the talk of fronting up to each other, saying I was concerned about a particular interaction between a social worker and one of my staff, and that we would transparently deal with them. And I think that's always built layer upon layer a better relationship. One of the key times that's been a challenge to our relationship between Child, Youth and Family and Te Aroha has happened relatively recently, when Donna left to become an acting site manager in another part of the country. That was a challenge. It meant that I began hearing elements of dissatisfaction in the relationship of my staff with Child, Youth and Family, but again, that didn't become a breaking point. It became just one more challenge that we had to overcome. And I just know that whatever we did, we have successfully transitioned to keeping the practices that we hold important in with new people that we now are responding to.
Mm. And that's really important, and I think without that catalyst, it's good to have an outcome like we have, because you can't have a relationship based on two people. It's got to be entrenched into the practice everywhere, I think. So I think it's positive that the response and the moving through that period has worked for the better, really.
I mean, we would talk with the young people about our hope for the young person. When a person even is referred here to from Child, Youth and Family, one of the things that we really began trying to influence SIFs initially was, rather than a deficit-based referral, could there be an inclusion of a question which said, what is your hope for this young person? What's the evidence of that hope? And I think in every in our relationship between the two organisations, we've always tried to say, what's the hope of why the two of us are trying to cooperate together? And that bigger picture vision has enabled us to get through the natural issues that arise between us.
Mm. And Bruce is always trying to influence practice from a strength-based perspective, and there's never, and it's great. It certainly keeps us re-energised, and we work hard to change. It's a big organisation where we can, and that's what's expected. But they certainly, Bruce and his team also contribute to the way that we think and reinforce the strengths-based perspective. Sometimes when we just have our noses to the grindstone sometimes and just feel like maybe the social workers are tuning through the work, it's great to be able to have an opportunity to stop and reflect on this referral is different to the other referrals. This referral is around the strengths and the outcomes and the opportunities. And I know that kind of thinking can be influenced in other areas of our work too, and it influences the social workers.
I think one of the things that if we're looking for where might this approach go in the future, what are the possibilities of what we've almost piloted between Child, Youth and Family and ourselves, is that we're moving to projects now that are linked to our young people. One of them is called a supported housing, supported accommodation for our youth. Again, it comes out of our youth-centred approach, because in engaging with them, we've realised how vulnerable they are in the areas of a roof over their heads, of a stable place, and that it's really almost impossible for them to engage with education or with life itself when they're worried about whether they'll have someone to feed them tonight or whether they'll have a nice room to be in. But this whole collaborative approach we've been pushing out the boundaries of that, and I know that somewhat recently we had a meeting here where we had a think tank of a person from the National MSD person, the head of Christian Social Services, but we also had the local tenancy manager of Housing New Zealand, the local head of Work and Income, as part of yourself, all part of a combined team to try and say how can we work collaboratively to achieve things that even Donna and I couldn't achieve on our own. And the City Council was present as well. But I think that's evidence of where we're now beginning to say this approach of working beyond silos is having such influence. Can we draw other quite major departments here in this city into this approach of saying we can all benefit if we work together and share our resources and our knowledge?